Hello and welcome to this conference hosted by MS Focus, the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. I'm your host, Kashana Allen, the Cyclical Programs Manager for MS Focus, and I am joined by a panel of 5 individuals who are living with MS. Tonight's important topic is spotlighting the Black experience with MS.
The whole
After
thing.
our
I'm like, why am I all these times?
After our discussion, we'll open it up to your questions and comments. Now, I would like to give each of our panelists the opportunity to introduce themselves. Let's start alphabetically with Camille, then Deanna, Coy, Loretta, and Yolanda.
Hi, everyone. Camille O'Brady from New York, New York, and I've been living with relapsing remitting MS for 18 years.
Hi, Camille.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deanna B. Gale. I'm very honored to be a part of this important discussion tonight. I was diagnosed in 2003, and I'm a business owner in Atlanta from South Carolina, and hopefully you guys will find some insightful information to help you through your MS journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna.
Thank you.
Hello, MS family. My name is Coy Johns. I've had MS since 1992, relapsing remitting MS, and I am excited to have this opportunity to be allowed into your homes tonight, and I as well hope that you can have something important that you take from tonight's webinar.
Thank you, Coy.
Hi, my name is Loretta Slade. I am from North Carolina.
So irritated.
By way of, well, now I am in Indianapolis, Indiana. I was diagnosed in 2020 with RRMS, and I have progressed from RRMS to PPMS as of December this year. And I am glad to be here tonight to discuss with you ladies about MS and to learn more from you all. And let's get down to business and let's talk about it.
Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you.
Yolanda.
I'm going to attempt to say anything, but just know that my internet connection says it's unstable. My name is Yolanda. I live near Charlotte, North Carolina. I formerly was an Internal Revenue Service supervisor. I love to travel. I love blue crab beignets from the Pink House in Savannah, Georgia. I also love crack, but my crack is not just like any old crack. My crack is, I love art, I love jewelry, I love furniture, and so I love to shop on Amazon Prime days. And my nickname is Yogo because I love to go and here, go there, shop different ways trying to shop, and like Hilton Head, California. I went to the Derby for the first time this year. My first time to the Derby. That was fun. And I won on a horse named Overcharge. And I bet on that because my brother nicknamed his grandbaby Ova. Her real name was Olivia. And so I felt that that's got to be a winner. And she won. My only problem is I didn't bet enough money. So
Next time.
Well, thank you, Yolanda.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and start. Nicole, I see that your hand is raised. I have.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Someone, I think it was Loretta, you mentioned R something kind of MS, and I'm not familiar because you mentioned a different type of MS, and it's new to me to have MS, so I'm not familiar with that type of MS. So if you could say.
Yes, I had. So in 2020, I was diagnosed with relapsing and remitting MS, and I I'm not gonna say I'm pretty sure, but I'm fairly confident that a lot of us we were diagnosed with our MS, relapsing and remitting, when we started out. I think that's kind of the game plan that we get starting out with MS. A lot of us get hit with relapsing and remitting MS when we first get diagnosed. So that's basically we will have relapses. We will have times where we will have tremors, or we'll have falls, or sometimes we may lose our speech, or I mean, it could be, we could have a number of different symptoms. It just depends on what it is. You never know. And then in December, my symptoms, they progressed rapidly. And I was good from 2020 up until 23 of this year. And like, I went to the neurologist, and out of nowhere, it went from relapsing and remitting to primary progression. You know, and you don't get any warning of, hey, it changed. You wake up one morning and you're no longer relapsing and remitting, you know. And I don't know, am I the only one who felt like that? I don't know who all has progressed from relapsing and remitting. Has anybody else progressed?
I have. Yet.
Hold on, get that in there. Go. Get. Take it. Go.
Fabia, you're not muted.
Oh. I'm so sorry. I was yelling at my dog.
I have friends in my support group that have progressed from relapsing to secondary progressive and also to primary progressive MS.
Mhm.
I do have some members of the support group that have done so, which is common.
Yeah, it is. It's very common.
Yes.
So Nicole, did she answer your question?
Yes, she did. I feel it's almost like group has met before, and this is my first time joining. So it seems like some people are really already familiar with these terms, and I am a newbie. And I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, because to hear that I could be okay one minute and then you're saying I could totally relapse, like what?
It's okay.
I'm having shock. It's a good thing I'm not on camera, because you'll probably go, calm down, take a breath, breathe now, breathe. But yeah. And then to hear a support group, I'm like, I needed that yesterday. And especially to see sisters. Thank you, Lord, for you sisters. I'm so thankful, because I felt like I am feeling like I'm alone. It's hard for family members to understand this, so I get it, especially when I've been the rock of the family, and the rock is now turned into pebbles. So
But you're still
it's
the
so
rock.
great.
Exactly.
You're still the rock. Just
The
because
pimp
you
is
got
down. The pimp is way down and in
this, baby, you
distress.
still the pimp. You still the pimp. Ain't nothing changed. Listen, you just got a new superpower. That's it. You got a new
Yes.
superpower. That's
Yeah.
it. A new superpower.
Well, thank you. So hopefully
That's
I will
it.
get some support group that I can connect with. Is this a one-time thing, or is this an ongoing thing? I'm not familiar.
I host a support group. If you are looking for one in Columbia, South Carolina, we meet once a month, in person and on Zoom. And there's probably even a local support group in your city where you live.
Well, not in my
probably
city for sure, because
not
it's
in your city?
primarily clear people who live here.
Oh,
So I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
never know
What
who's
you
on here.
said, clear people.
Um,
Excuse
I
me.
love it.
You are welcome
Um,
to join our support group. You are
I
very
want to
welcome.
join everybody because it's every day that I break down and go, what the heck? And then I
Well, honey,
try to go to sleep. So
you can reach
that
out
the
to
insomnia
me.
is real. But anyway, I'm
Thank
sorry to
You
take
can
away
reach
from the
out to me.
panelists. I'm gonna
No, no,
and
no,
mute
no.
myself.
No, you're not.
No,
This is Yolanda.
you're
I want you to feel like, do not be worried about progressing. One of the really important features of what was called a disease modifying therapy, or and we often call it a DMT for short for disease modifying therapy, is that the main purpose of that is for it to slow down the progression of you coming, and you don't have to ever go to anything else. If you're
no.
on a DMT, that's the whole purpose of it. And my doctor used to say is, if you're on one, as good as you are today, you can be that well tomorrow, and the day after, and day after, and ever. So please don't feel like that.
Right.
Please.
And some people are not, and some people who have MS, they are not on DMTs. I have met people who have chosen not to do DMTs and they are doing absolutely fine. I've met a woman who had MS for like 46 years and has not done a DMT a single day, and she is doing absolutely fine. So, that being said, you can MS is it is a
Different. Everybody.
pain in the, it's different for everyone.
Yep.
It is. And it is hard. It's very hard, but it's not anything that you can't fight. It's not anything that you can't overcome.
So what I
Okay.
will say, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry,
No,
Loretta.
you're fine.
What I
No.
will say, Nicole, I did hear that I picked up a few things in the beginning of your conversation. If you want to get a pen, or Bavia can email you or message you our 1-800 number, you can reach out to me tomorrow while I'm at work, and we can send you a packet of information, not only about our services, but also about multiple sclerosis, so you can better educate yourself on the different types of MS. Also, we can connect you with a support group at that time, and anyone that answers the hotline can give you this information. But if you want to specifically ask for me, I will be in the office tomorrow and I can give you the information as well. Also, it was another thing that you said, I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. I heard you say support group, information on MS. If I think of it, I'll come back to it and I'll call your name. But for sure, reach out to me tomorrow. It's 1-888-673-6287, extension 191. That's me, Kashana. And we can chat about MS tomorrow.
Could you repeat the telephone number, please?
It's 888-673 6287, extension 191.
Excellent.
It's in the chat too, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay. And then Koi, you said you have a support group. Should I just send you my email through the chat?
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the time.
No problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on. From Nicole, I see Simone, and I apologize if I am mispronouncing anyone's name. I'm going to move on to Simone Collins. You can go ahead and speak, please. Simone, are you there?
Okay, sorry, I didn't click a button. You pronounced my name correctly.
Thank you.
People mispronounce it so much, but thank you to Simone Biles and Simone Manuel for making it more common. So I am very new to my diagnosis. I was diagnosed 2 months ago with RRMS, but my symptoms started back in October. If and it was a long journey to get my diagnosis, I feel like, and I know it's longer for a lot of people, but with me having RRMS, and I know it's different for everybody, I am wondering if I was wrongly diagnosed with RRMS, like if it's more progressed than that, because I have not been symptom free since before October.
Oh, you just missed a seminar that Coy and I went to in Colombia about that, and it's a whole nother disease that we just learned. At least I just learned that has a lot of symptoms like MS, but it's not MS. And Coy can correct me if I'm wrong, but they said 40 to 45% of people who are diagnosed with MS really had that other disease.
So
And
just
we were like, wow.
So just to piggyback on that, Yolanda, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of diseases out there that mimic MS. Lupus is one. There's a lot of diseases that mimic it. So oftentimes you do get misdiagnosed.
But this one is like
NMOSD. NMOSD stands for neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder.
Can you put that in the chat?
Yes.
Yes.
They said it's commonly with that illness, patients are diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but then they display other symptoms as well as symptoms familiar to MS, and they do some lab blood testing and find out that they have NMOSD. But I will type that into the chat so you can do a little research on it. And it is possible to have both illnesses, MS and NMOSD.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simone. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. So Nicole, I just want to revisit. I did remember what you asked, and you asked if this was, how often do we do this particular webinar? So what I will say is in February, we had a Black History webinar that had a very good turnout. So from the good results that we received from that, we're waiting for the coordinator of the webinar to decide how often we will have this particular webinar, but we did receive good feedback and good results from it. So I'm not sure how often we will have it, but I know that if tonight goes well, we might have another one next month.
Yay.
So really quick, while we're in a quick intermission, I just want to put out being an advocate for yourself. Deanna, if you would like to elaborate on that topic.
Sure. I think it's so important to go to the doctors. The modern day medicine is important to get diagnosis and things like that. But you also have to understand maybe your blood work, maybe if there are some things in your family history. Vitamin D3 was a big thing for me. I was very deficient for a very long time. And I started taking D3 along with K2. K2 helps D3 absorb in your system. And my numbers are sky high now with D3. But just knowing those typical things, maybe seem typical to some people, but if we're just given a diagnosis and medication and sitting home, there's really no way for us to, I guess, be active in our own healthcare. So go in with your questions, ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions about your health. Because a lot of neurologists or MS facilities, they see so many patients and we all kind of look the same. And nothing against them, but they're just like, okay, well, I saw a patient like you yesterday, had similar symptoms, but there's so many things to consider. And I was also dealing with severe anemia, and I've had dizzy spells the last couple of weeks, and it's affecting my heart. So some pain I had in my chest, I thought it was a spasm, but I have to get checked out with a cardiologist now. So something that I was so focused on, like, keeping blood sugar levels down. As Black women, we have to make sure we watch what we eat, because things like fibroids, they really affect our community too. So with those separate issues, I was so focused on MS and doing those other things, losing weight, that my iron was like shot. And so when I say be an advocate, you have to put all the pieces together. And sometimes it takes you a few years to get it together, and sometimes it takes a long time. I was diagnosed in 2003. So I'm still learning things every day. I'm learning about myself. I'm surprised every day. Like, oh, I don't remember having that feeling. So it's been a great journey. I'm grateful, but also do your research for yourself.
Thank you. I would also like to touch on benefits of always having a positive attitude. Koi, can you speak a little bit about that for me?
Yes, I feel like, well, first of all, since I've been diagnosed, initially I thought I was Superwoman. I thought I was invincible. I thought I could do anything. And I didn't even believe I had MS initially. I was in, I guess, denial for a while. But then in 2013, I had a severe relapse. And I was unable to walk, unable to stand up. And that lasted for a long period, put me out of work. I've been a surgical scrub nurse for 20 years, and I was unable to work anymore. I did a lot of physical therapy and rehab for about 8 months, and I turned that around. I feel like the major part of me overcoming that huge obstacle was me having a positive attitude and my faith in God. I feel like with the Black community, we do rely on faith a lot, a lot. And some people rely on faith so much that they will rely on faith before they'll turn to their faith before they even turn to medicine or science. And they may even do that alone. I wouldn't encourage doing it alone, but I think that having a positive attitude when you have that, that's half the battle already won. It can carry you a long way. They say your attitude determines your altitude. It really does. It really does. And I tend to look at the glass half full, rose tinted glasses, all of that. It's just carried me throughout. And I feel like I think
Koi, we lost you.
I hope the internet bug is not contagious.
Koi,
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm gonna stop then. I don't know what happened.
Oh, well, we got most of pretty much everything you were saying.
Yeah.
So thank
Okay.
you. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
So my next topic, why do we have to go above and beyond to prove that we are having symptoms that we described? Loretta, can you elaborate on that for me? Loretta?
She's on mute.
I unmuted her. You know what, Loretta, it's really weird, but I have you on here twice.
That's weird. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but Loretta, did you notice that you're logged in twice?
No, like I'm not, like that's weird, and I only see me once, and then
Wait.
I see Yolanda twice.
Sorry, I'm saying the wrong name. I apologize.
I'm on here twice because I
was like, wait a minute.
I'm on the phone.
See me once.
I'm on the phone.
I only see you once too.
I'm on the phone and I'm just the iMac. So I'm on here twice because I was having issues. No, I was having issues.
Okay, all right, got it. I
Yeah.
apologize. Loretta,
Yeah, I was like,
elaborate on that. Do you need me to repeat it?
no, I know.
Okay.
No, it's well, one, when I first was diagnosed, it was just I was going through so many different things. For 4 years, I would tell the doctor that I was having these crazy migraines, and just like I would describe them, and they were like, "Oh, well, I don't understand." Like, well, that makes no sense, and it was like they would look at me like I was crazy. And then, like Deanna was saying, like you really have to advocate and like do the research for yourself, because if you don't, you won't ever know what's going on. And come to find out, for 4 years in my MRIs, it showed that I had this birth defect called Chiari malformation, and there is absolutely nothing that they can do about it. And I was born with this, and I didn't know. My mom, my parents, no one knew. So the headaches that I was describing, um, it was a real thing. It wasn't anything that I made up. It was true. I had to work extra hard about, I was telling him that this is real. And then the vision that I was losing, me losing my vision, that was a real thing as well. Like, and they looked at me like, well, you can't be losing your vision. You only have RRMS. And where does that come from? And I'm like, no, I'm not making this up. This is a real thing, you know. How do you want me over there? You can do it. One of the but when I say that I struggled to get them to understand what I was going through, nobody could listen. I literally had to take someone with me that did not look like me to explain it to them, what I was going through. That was the hardest thing. And when they told them what I was going through, they understood, and they finally listened. And then they finally took me and they did more MRIs, and they said, oh yeah, you do have Chiari malformation and you do have optic neuritis. And now, because I went so long, my neurologist didn't listen. Now I have to have CT scans once every 6 months. The last CT scan that I had shows that I have a nodule on my lung, which could potentially be cancer. So because of the lack of care that I got from my neurologist is now leading to me having to go have a PET scan that may lead to me I may have cancer. So like we really have to work extra hard to find out what's going on with us. Like, and I haven't talked about it with anyone except for people that are close to me. So this is my first time publicly speaking about it. So we do have to work extra hard when it comes to our health. We have to advocate for ourselves. So when Deanna and Coy speak about doing research about our health and what we have going on, that's a real thing. We really have to, because if we don't, no one else will do it. Nobody else will do it for us.
Got it. I heard you.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for
you.
sharing.
Oh my.
Just give me 1 second. I am reviewing the questions really quick. So tired of thrown together considers, i.e. the handicap parking spot is farther from the entrance, its location uneven or super hilly terrain, or is it more curvy than Lombard Street in San Francisco? Another example of how people without universal design experience design the spaces for disabled. Yolanda, can you expand on that for me?
I have to say it without getting the attitude, I assume.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it is so frustrating to see, like, when you know that when you get a handicap placard, you have to prove how far you can walk. Your doctor has to say how far you can walk. So part of even getting one is that you're limited in your walking distance. And in that being true, they still can have the handicap parking spot further away from the door. And I've been to places where I was in Mexico, and I guess it's Jimmy Bucket's restaurant. The handicap entrance was really that's not Mexico. That's not the United States. The handicap entrance literally was a curb, and it was so bad. The guy who was working there, he could see how lousy it was. He was standing there like protecting me to make sure I wouldn't fall off. And in America, I've been to restaurants where the handicap stall is not big enough for a scooter, definitely not a wheelchair. And I've been to festivals where it's not enough, there's not enough room, where they don't have a handicap stall that you can use. And I just get so frustrated. I just get so, because I go a lot of places and I try to enjoy myself despite having MS. And so maybe I get exposed a little bit more than other people. I don't know. To how people just throw it together and say that this is accessible. No, it's not. And I remember going to here in the Charlotte area, I went to the Charlotte Museum of History, and I even got it videotaped. I videotaped about, oh, you can't get in here with the scooter, and that's a public place that everybody goes. Well, a lot of people go to, and you can hardly get into there with the bathroom stall. And see, when you have MS, and you have a lot of us who have MS have some kind of bathroom issue. For me, it's going to the bathroom I'm joking about every 2 minutes. But when you have to go to the bathroom often, that's the first thing I check out to make sure to know what I'm dealing with when I go somewhere public. You check out the bathroom, see if I can get in there or not, and and be able to use it. And it's so frustrating to see that they have not really put the effort in. Too often, they have not put the effort into designing it well, so you really can use it. And like me, I need to use it often. So I appreciate when it's done well, and when it's not, it is so exceptionally frustrating. But to piggyback on the other ladies, who was talking about, she went to the doctor, they didn't listen to her. I don't know if you realize that it's a Black woman issue. And it's also prevalent in Black women healthcare with regard to OBGYN, babies, while you're pregnant, have given birth afterwards, that there are a lot of people who die or really get severely ill during the pregnancy or what have you. And with 80% of whatever they end up dying with or really getting severely ill, 80% of it is preventable. But somebody didn't listen. Somebody didn't listen.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you for sharing. Camille, can you please elaborate on "We are never alone in our journey with this monster"? Hold on, Camille. Let me unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Sorry about that. I said, look at us. We are, we're never alone. You have so many of us from different journeys, whether it's 2 months ago to 20 years ago. we're fighting this battle. So we're never alone. Although it may seem that way sometimes, but thankful for the opportunities like this highlights the fact that we can never be alone, because there's so many of us here today to show and tell how we deal. That makes sense?
Makes sense. Thank you for sharing. Koi, I see a raised hand. I just asked to unmute you. Koi.
I want to piggyback off of what Camille said about never being alone. And I definitely want to make that point to Nicole that was on earlier. As she said, and I've heard many members in our support group that when they initially joined in, said that they felt like they were alone. They didn't know anyone else with MS, and especially Black women like themselves with MS. But you're not alone. You have a whole family of women here tonight. There's always someone else. You also always have your Heavenly Father. I don't know if we were supposed to talk about that or not, but just to mention that. But you're never alone, and you shouldn't have to go through it alone. If you feel that way, reach out to someone. I strongly encourage you to find a support group if you don't already have one. I strongly encourage you to find a support group, one that you're comfortable with, a positive support group. I guess to just support one another, to be there for one another, to advocate for one another, and to let each other know that you don't have to go through it alone, and to learn from each other. We learn so much from each other in our group, throughout the things that we go through, and just sometimes just education and research that we may find out about something, whether it be a different drug or a new type of therapy for this particular symptom or illness. But don't ever go through it alone. Reach out to somebody. You can even call me. I will answer the phone any time of day, just to help, because I've been there. As I said earlier, when I had my severe relapse, I thought I was going to be stuck like that, unable to walk and stand. And it was reversed. God saw fit to bless me and reverse it and pull me through it once again. And since then, I've just had this attitude of thankfulness and gratefulness, and it's like I see life in a brand new light now. It's like I'm just so much more appreciative for everything. I'm getting off topic, but you're not alone, never alone. And I just want to piggyback off of what Camille said. That's all.
Thank you. Really quick, I want to make sure that Koi, Loretta, Camille, Deanna, and Yolanda, I did touch on a topic from everyone. Can you nod your head for me? Yes. Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. I have 3 Q&As. This has nothing to do with the seminar, but Deanna, did you do basic training at Fort Jackson?
Say it again. Did I do basic training
at Fort Jackson?
I'm trying to get the reference.
I don't know. Tiffany Simmons, it was a Q&A. It was a question that was on there. So I'm reading.
Oh, it's in the questions. Oh, I went to Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Fort Jackson
maybe-
is the military base here in
Yeah,
Columbia, South
yeah, so I
Carolina.
didn't know if she was saying she knew me from Columbia, maybe, but I was not at Fort Jackson, I promise.
Another Q&A, what symptoms did you experience once you progressed to PPMS? So I think that's for Loretta.
I lost my speech. I was unable to walk. My vision went away. Fortunately, like Miss Coy said, thank God that it did not last long. You know, we have a healing God and we have an all-knowing God, and at the end of the day, he has the final say. So, you know, no matter what man says, the man above, he always comes through. But it was just random things like my tremors. My tremors never go away. I am in constant pain. I have deterioration in my back. I have a bulging disc. At this point in time, when they no longer read my lesions in my they don't read my lesions anymore. My lesions are too many to count. I shouldn't be walking. I should be in a wheelchair. Um, like I I shouldn't be here. Um, but we all know that there's somebody bigger and better, and he says otherwise. So no matter what an MRI may say, my God says otherwise. And no matter what the PET scan says, I know that I'm healed. And you know, I already know on the 26th when I go, it's not gonna be there. I already know. So I'm not worried about the PET scan. I know what it says because my guys already told me what it said. So I'm okay in the end. But it was just a bunch of different things. And when you progress, it's just your symptoms never stop. They're ongoing. So they haven't stopped. So whatever you have going on right now, they don't stop. They just continuously go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have a heat tolerance? Severe heat seems to drain all of my energy. When I am in it for a long period, it's like Superman and kryptonite. So, so Tracy, that asked that question, heat does bother MS clients, MS patients. We do have a cooling program from February 1st through I believe June 1st. I am the coordinator of that program. Cooling vest works, any type of cooling products work, a cooling hat, cooling necktie, wristbands, cooling vest, all of these things can help you with the heat. So while our program has ended for this year, if you would like, you can reach out to the MSAA. They have a year-round cooling program and you can apply for their program. Their phone number is 888-532-7667. Bavia can put that in the chat for you, or you can call me tomorrow and I can give you the information to MSAA, and that's Multiple Sclerosis Association of America. Carletta, sorry if I mispronounced that, wants to know, what about dating? Listen, dating is rough.
Hey.
And I don't have MS, and dating is rough.
The same pool that's out there for single people is the same pool that's out there for people with MS.
Anyone would like to
Thank God I
elaborate
ain't
on
got
that?
to do it. I ain't got to do it. Hallelujah. Who only do it?
No one wants to elaborate on dating. All right. I am participating in a genetic study of Black Americans with MS. I'm wondering if anyone else is participating. I am participating in a genetic study of Black Americans with MS. I'm wondering if anyone else is participating.
No, I'm not, but I would love to. Because I have some theories on it. I would love to.
All right. Tina, maybe send Yolanda some information in the message chat box if you can.
I'm gonna put my phone number in there.
All right, thank you. So that's all the Q&A that I have. Connie, I did notice that your hand was up for a while. Connie, if you can hear me, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, no, I didn't have a question. Good afternoon, ladies. I just wanted to offer some information to the lady who was newly diagnosed, but I think everyone has covered it already. So that's all I wanted. I've had MS for over 50 years and RRMS. So I was just going to say some of the things you all have already said. So sorry, I forgot to undo my hand.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much, Connie.
No problem.
All right, Donna, I noticed that your hand has been up for a while. Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how are y'all?
Good, thank you.
Hey, Coy. And I don't know how to turn on the camera.
You can't. You can see us, but we can't see you.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. I didn't have my hand up. I was just trying to figure out what the supposed to do
Donna?
because I didn't know how to mute myself, unmute myself, and for no reason.
Okay, all right. So I can move to the next person?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Donna. Good talking to you. Tiffany, I noticed that your hand was up. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I'm a little late to the discussion, but I'm not sure if the panelists have any lived experience. I'm newly diagnosed with MS in January. I'm also a newlywed, so I just got married last month. We plan to start family planning. I would love to hear anybody's experiences with pregnancy and childbirth with MS. I am 35 now, so I would love to hear from the panelists if they any experience with that. I have a great care team. I realize I'm very blessed. So I have a neurologist. It's like, let's get on it, let's get going. But I would love to hear experiences from Black women about getting pregnant and childbirth with MS.
Any of the panelists, if you would like to speak on that, please unmute yourself. And congratulations, Tiffany.
Yes,
Congratulations, Tiffany. I have 4 children, my husband and I. 3 of these children I have had since I've had MS. I didn't have any complications from my MS during the pregnancies. Actually, the body in its pregnant state will sort of protect you from some of your MS symptoms in a sense. Your MS tends to get a little bit better during the pregnancy, but after the pregnancy, once you deliver, it's the childbirth itself where you start to experience difficulty from the childbirth itself that causes the body it triggers sort of a relapse. Not for everybody, because it never did for me, but it can do that. But I had awesome, amazing pregnancies. As I said, I had 3 of my children since I've had MS. And I encourage you and your husband to go forward with and congratulations again, if I haven't already said that, on your newfound wedding. But go ahead. go forward with your child, with your having children. I encourage you, go ahead and do so. Don't be afraid, and don't let MS stop you or slow you down.
Yeah, and I would just like to add, because I know Coy, but I think she forgot that she was taking Avonex, and she with her last child, her son, and she was taking Avonex, and I think she did not know she was pregnant. And so then, after taking the Avonex, she found out she was pregnant, and they were a little concerned about, the baby and everything. But he is wonderful. He is fine. Nothing wrong. So
I did forget. Thank you, Yolanda.
yeah, yeah.
We were very concerned.
Yeah.
There's another thing I did want to mention also. You do have to be careful with which types of disease modifying therapies that you're on. When you are in the childbearing process, if you want to get pregnant, you will have to, certain disease modifying therapies you will have to come off of for several months while you are attempting to get pregnant, and during the pregnancy. There are certain ones, matter of fact, most of them. I believe Copaxone I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about medication.
Well, what I want to say is that we're not healthcare professionals. So anyone that's listening, we're not healthcare professionals. There is a doctor in the chat, and he's making comments. However, you guys can't see them. But once again, we're just speaking about our personal experiences and what we have went through. So everyone is different with any disease, with any walk of life, so your experience with something might be different than mine, and so on and so forth. So just please keep in mind that we're not healthcare professionals, but we're speaking about personal experiences.
Thank you. Thank you. But there are some medications that you will, and your doctor will let you know which ones, which medications you can take and bear children, and which ones you cannot. Your doctor will let you know.
Thank you, Coy.
Go ahead.
All right. So I do have a question, Q&A. Has anyone had the symptom of feeling electric shocks, like they put their finger in a socket? If so, what have you been able to do for it? New symptom for me. Thank you. Anyone want to?
I used to have that several years ago. It felt like electricity shooting through my body, and it would just come. It wasn't an ongoing thing. It would just randomly come and occur at odd times, and it would dissipate. But I don't even have them anymore. It would come and it would stop, but it felt like like she said, like electrical currents, just jolts of it shooting through your body. But I don't have them at all anymore. So I'm not sure if that's the same thing she has or not. But like I said, it stopped on its own.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Is anyone, so Joy from Joy has a question. Is anyone else the first in their family to be diagnosed with MS? I've had RRMS for 14 years, and no one else on either side of my family has been diagnosed with it.
This is Yolanda. I am not the first in my family to be diagnosed. However, I have a first cousin who has MS, but she's my first cousin on one side, my third cousin on the other side. She has a set of twins, and one of her twins has MS. Then I have 4 other distant cousins, at least 4, with MS. So my mother didn't have it, my father didn't have it, my grandfather didn't have it, but now we got like 6 people in the family with MS.
So for me, that question is, do we know if those family members really didn't have it, or were they misdiagnosed all these years, or did they even go to be checked for it? Oftentimes, like, some didn't know, like back in the day. Like, we've always heard of diabetes, we've always heard of this, we've always, high blood pressure. These are the things that we know, right? When it comes to the Black culture. So we always think of these things when it comes to the African American culture. So, like, back in the day, were they really going to the doctor and asking about MS? Because at one point, this wasn't considered a Black disease. So
for me, when it comes to my mother going to the doctor, she going to the doctor. And she was a teacher, and for years and years, she didn't even get a cold until she didn't even start getting colds until she was 50-some years old. And that's amazing for a teacher.
Got it.
So she never had a walking issue. She wore glasses just like anybody else. And fatigue issue, oh my gosh, she could go on Energizer Bunny. She definitely didn't have any MS fatigue. And her brother and I but I got, I hear what you're saying, but when it comes to her, she was going to the doctor, no problem. She was going to anything that she wasn't right, she was going to the doctor to check that out.
All right, thank you. Anyone else want to speak on that?
I want to say one thing about the MS experience and any health, it is being Black. We are viewed as so strong in this country, and we take that into our homes. We take that into, I gotta go to work because who else is gonna do it? And we ignore a lot of things, and we think, well, this is my normal. So when you have that experience, you may ignore a lot of things that like that didn't feel good, but I have to ice it up, put some Windex on it, and keep going, So just be aware of your body, be aware of changes. And if you have a hard time remembering, write down a little summary every month, like first of the month, had a headache every day. Because you forget how often you are not feeling well until you can't get yourself out of it. So just be aware, and only you can really know what's happening and how you feel.
Thank you. So Joyce is in my Q&A, and she has a question. She said, I would like to know what mobility device you use or suggest. I would like one. Oh, wait. Okay. Where'd she go? I would like one that is easy to handle with little or no assistance. My insurance company doesn't cover on that is easy to use, i.e. travel with. So a lot of clients that I've assisted in the past at the foundation, they use a lightweight scooter. Our organization helps with the purchase of that, and also the MS Society. Their phone number is 1-800-344-4867. If anyone else wants to elaborate on that, you can.
Okay, for me, I have 2 scooters. The first one I got was a Lucky scooter, and that's a travel scooter that weighs about 55 pounds. And as I was trying to, I couldn't lift it that well by myself, and I would always have to go somewhere with somebody to help me lift that scooter. So after a while, I tried to get a lift to do it, and as part of doing that, no lift, I was told, could actually hook onto it because it didn't have anywhere to hook onto it and put it in the car. So I ended up getting another scooter with a special bar you have to put on it to hook onto the lift. And so I used the other scooter that with a scooter lift to put in to be able to put it into my car. So neither of those scooters, the lift nor the hand controls, nobody paid for it but me. No insurance paid for any of it. So I had to scrape it up myself. So that's why they call me Yogo. I'm still going, but it's because of what I had to pay out of my pocket myself. Because insurance, I tried to get a scooter through insurance. I went to the right place. I went to the doctor to get it prescribed. I went to, talk to the prescribing people, and they said, okay, yeah, we're going to give you one. We're going to give you one. And then that was in October of 2018. May of 2019, the insurance company sent me a thing, said, oh, you don't need a scooter inside of your house. So therefore we should have never paid for one for you. Now you owe. And then I was like, then I had to talk to them. And then they said, oh, because you got the scooter from our pre-approved companies, you don't have to pay for it. So yeah, it can be interesting. But don't let it stop you.
Oh, wow. Is anyone, another Q&A, is anyone else sensitive to chemicals, cleaning supplies, or smoke? Deanna, unmute yourself, please.
Smoke for me. When I was diagnosed, I was in a bowling alley the night before, 3 games in a smoke-filled bowling alley. Next morning, I woke up, my right eye, I lost control of my right eye pretty much. So I always signify smoke as, some kind of metamorphosis happened. Yeah, trigger for me. So very sensitive to that. Chemicals, not so much, but smoke, definitely.
My last Q&A, have tremors stopped you from doing things? Anyone?
Well, I don't have them, so. And it took me a long time to figure out that I had MS fatigue because I didn't feel tired around the house or doing things. My fatigue was if I was driving, and I would be driving sometime and I would get sleepy, and which is very dangerous. Mm-hmm. And then I was talking to the MS specialist, who's a neurologist, and that's another thing too. I would like to emphasize to all of you, you don't want to just have a plain old neurologist. You need a specialist, an MS specialist, because sometimes a neurologist can kill you, because one almost killed me. So I don't have any tremor thing. I just, I have
tremors.
Yeah.
I do. I have tremors, and they are not fun at all. They're the worst. I have trouble writing, holding things, just like everyday things that you would think would be easy, picking up stuff, trying to hold stuff. I drop it all the time. So, and then there are days when I don't tremor as bad. So it can be a pain. I just wake up in the morning and I pray for better days that I don't tremor as bad, but sometimes I have tremors in my voice. So it takes over. It's not just your hands, it's not just your legs, it's in your voice as well. So today is a good day for me because I don't have tremors in my voice, and like I literally prayed, like I pray every day, but I really was praying that I didn't have tremors in my voice, because if I had tremors in my voice this morning, I was not going to do this. It's not gonna do it. I'm sorry. I wasn't, because I didn't want to get on and sound like the whole time. And that's how it is when I wake up and I have tremors. I don't like it. It's embarrassing. Like, it's horrible. So, but yeah, the tremors are a real thing.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Deanna, Tammy wants to know, has the smoke ever caused tingling or numbness?
I'm not in particular. I think I just run from smoke now, because that was, like I said, I was diagnosed 2003, and that was the trigger that sent me to the ER. So I haven't been around it long enough these days to even find out if it has an effect, but it's best definitely muscle memory to run.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any of the panelists can answer. Anonymous wants to know, how do you deal with cognitive issues?
That is a good one. That's a good one. I have sticky notes everywhere. If she's referring to memory as far as cognition, I use sticky notes everywhere, post-it notes. I write everything. I have notes right here in front of me for tonight. Little voice recorders, recording stuff in your cell phone under the notes. And as far as concentration issues, I have that. How do I handle that? I just try to do things one thing at a time. I lose focus very, very often. Multitasking. I have trouble multitasking now because of cognition. And I get lost everywhere I go because I feel like I don't have any sense of direction. So I use GPS everywhere I go. I can be going to the store or to a friend's house. I have a friend that lives 5 minutes from me. I use GPS every time I go to her house because my sense of direction is just so bad that I know maybe which street I'm supposed to turn on, but it's like in my head, it'll get turned around as to which direction I'm supposed to turn on that street. But I do have cognition issues, and I've been noticing them getting slightly worse over time. But I still function, I still press on, and I always look at it like there's somebody else that's got it worse than me, I know. So and it could be a lot worse. So
Thank you for sharing. So to the panelists, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We appreciate you so much. There are a few more questions in the Q&A. Bavia is giving me the signal to wrap this up. I do want to read this last question from Camille. Because she's in Canada and she does not have a support group. So I'm in Canada. I found myself completely being dismissed in the Canadian MS groups. There are no Black MS Canadian groups. I'm wondering, is this group connected to Black Canadian groups? I've been diagnosed since 2013. I live with MS as a Lone Ranger. What I can say, Camille, is that I heard Coy speak earlier about her support group having a like a live where you can join her live, maybe if you're interested in that. So if you want to send her a direct message and give her your information, that might be a good connection for you.
I have a support group as well. I didn't mention that earlier.
Thank you, Deanna.
We alternate an outing every other month, and then between those months we do Zooms. It's usually the second Monday, every alternating, but I will add you to my list and just let you know when the meetings and outings are. And I'm in the East Atlanta area.
Okay. All right, Camille, I hope that was helpful. Once again, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm sure Debbie will be in contact with you ladies. You have any closing words for me? Oh wait, I'm supposed to read something. Hold on. No, I'm good with my closing. That was pretty good. So if you ladies have anything that you would like to say in closing. Yolanda, I see your lips. Hold on, Yolanda. Unmute.
Okay, I would just like to say, I know it can be frustrating sometimes having MS, but you just have to take it one day at a time and really concentrate on what you have to be grateful for, even if it's down to the toothbrush and toothpaste. Concentrate on the positive and reach out to certain support groups and what have you. I put my number up there. I think somebody else has their number up there. Feel free to call me. I'm a reforming late night owl. I've been trying to get to bed. I usually been getting to bed about 12:30, 1 o'clock, which is good for me because sometimes it's 4 a.m., 4:30, 5 a.m. or 6.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? No? Okay. So I do have an outro. Let me go ahead and read it. That brings us to the end of our time. If you miss any part of this conference, it has been recorded and will be available through MS Focus Facebook and YouTube channel. Reply to your registration email for information on how to access recordings or sign up for our newsletter to learn about upcoming events. Our next teleconference will be Monday, July 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Our speaker that evening will be Tiffany Malone, who will be presenting the topic of the importance of social connection in MS. As you leave the conference today, a survey will appear on your screen. We ask that you take a moment to give us feedback on the program and your suggestions for future topics. Our hope is always to provide you the best and most meaningful programs possible. Our sincere thanks to all of our attendees for your participation, and especially to our wonderful panel. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your views on such an important topic. Goodbye to everyone and have a great evening.